Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second series of Archicad now for this year. This series will be on air on every Thursday at 5 p.m. from today until 9th of June. Let's take a look at the episodes that will be and the information that will be shared in this series. There will be total of 5 episodes in the entire series, and our focus will be on stairs, railings, and curtain walls. For today's session, we will be sharing the basic for stairs and a few stair designs as well. It is going to be more like an introduction session for the stairs. Next session, which is on 19th of May, will be a detailed session on a lot of how-to questions on stairs itself. Following that, on 26th May, we will have a session on railings, and we will share detailed insights on achieving the railings that uh, we will see in today's as well as next session, and plus a few more tips and tricks on railings as well. The last two sessions on 2nd and 9th June will focus mainly on curtain walls. Now let's get started and let's focus on today's session. And today's session will be more of an introduction on stairs. To begin with, let's talk about the stair basics itself. Allow me to share another screen. All right, so let's talk about the basics. So once you want to start off with the staircase, the first thing you need to take note of the selection settings for the stairs itself. And to begin with, we need to take note of the home story as well as the top link. Other things to take note of is the staircase width, number of risers, riser height, and the going. And of course, there are certain rules that are available for you to actually manipulate or key in as per the standards. Let's take a look at some of them one by one. Let's start with the story height itself. So here I have an example to show you how story height would function. So if I select this particular stair and I go to the settings, you will note there's a bit of a lag, so just allow me. Yeah, so if you pay attention here on the story settings, if you realize it goes from ground floor to story 1. So if you notice here, there's no offset value, so it goes directly from ground floor to story 1. So that is like how it is connected. Whereas if I look at the settings of the one on the left side, allow me to turn off the camera because there's some kind of a lag. So here, as you notice, the staircase here is not linked, and there is a height that is being given here, which is 1 meter from the ground floor, which is the home story. So when you want to create your stairs, that's the first thing you need to take care of. Moving forward, let's talk about the start and end with the riser. In this case, let me just show you the settings again. So over here you have two options. You can either choose to start the stair with the riser, and or you can start with the tread, and similarly you can either decide to end the stair with the tread or with the riser. So in this case the current setting is end with the tread. So let's see if I change it end with the riser, how the change takes place. So you can notice that the reference line is still there. So in case I want to end it with the riser, I probably have to move the staircase further ahead. The next thing you need to take note of is the flexible going depth. So if I again show you the settings, you would notice the option here, which is fixed going depth or the flexible going depth. So in this case, currently the setting is flexible, which means that it will be based on the rule that you can see here, where you're going is minimum 250 mm and the maximum is 350 mm. So if I want to keep it fixed, let's see how it behaves. So let me pick up a stair here. So let's say I pick up a staircase here from the favorites and I want to do, give me a moment. Yeah. So if I pick up the staircase and I want to do a stair here, okay. So if I currently the setting for this particular stair is fixed for the going. As you can see, it's fixed. So if I change it flexible, let me just change it to flexible, then it will be governed by the values that I have given in the rule. Which is here. Okay, so likewise, if you see here, in case of this staircase also, in case of this staircase as well, if I pick up the node and if I want to play around with the going depth, I can either choose it to be flexible or fixed, and then I can specify the value here. Likewise, you have width and risers. So when you do your stairs, you have to pay attention also to the reference line, the baseline of the staircase, as in this case is at the center. So if I make any changes to the width here, for example, let's say I change it to 1.5 instead of 1, it will be equally distributed around the baseline. But if I change the reference line to, let's say, on towards the left side, and now if I make any changes, it will be based on the reference line alignment or the baseline alignment. So those were the basics. Let's move on and look at our first staircase. And let me just bring you back to the slides again. All right. So moving on, our first staircase will be the spiral staircase. And I will be sharing what are the methods of creating the spiral staircase and how we can actually modify the same to achieve what you see on the screen right now. All right, so this is the layout that we have at the moment. So very basic layout, simple spiral staircase here. Okay, and let's take a look at the 3D for the same. As you can see, this is what we want to achieve at the end with the tread and the stringers on both the side. So let's just create the spiral staircase and achieve what is there on the screen right now. So going back to the floor plan view, there are a couple of methods that you can use for creating the spiral staircase. Let's just review them one by one. The first one here is the method that you can use in case you have any reference drawing for in form of DWG or PDF. So what you can do is you will already have a center point, and based on the circumference you will have an external point also. So what we can do here is I'm just going to pick up the stair tool, okay, and I'll check the settings based on whatever we have discussed just now and adjust them accordingly. Okay, so depending upon you want to start with the riser or end with the riser, the depth, the number of steps, and all the settings that we discussed just now. So this one is going from first story to the second story. And to create the stairs, I'm just going to click on the first point here. So the moment I click, it will start guiding me on the stairs and it will start forming the treads. So I'm going to pick up this arc by center point and I'm going to click on the center point here. So the moment I click, it will start forming the risers for me. And as I move, it will start increasing the risers. So I'm just going to click once so that the staircase is created. Let's just take a look at the 3D view. Let me zoom out. So we have a staircase already here. Let's just go back to the floor plan view again. And let's look at the second method. Here I will only have a center point. Okay, but we are going to look at another method of creating the spiral staircase. In this case, I'm going to pick up the stair tool again, keeping the settings same as I did for the previous one. But this time, without clicking on the center point, I'm just going to take help of this guide. And as you can see, the distance is increasing. So I'm just going to key in the distance for achieving, let's say I want to key in 3000. But at this point, I want a guideline instead of the radius itself. So what I'm going to do is I have keyed in the distance I want. I will click on this small icon next to the tick mark there, which will mark your position and give you a guideline at a distance of 3000, as you can see, right? So likewise, I can now pick up the staircase, the stair tool. Let me mark the distance again at, let's say, 1500 this time. And I mark the position here. As you can see, it guides me. So I'm going to click, again pick up. This time I'm going to pick up arc by 3 points because I have the guideline. So I will click on the first point, click on the second point. Okay. Okay, give me a moment. Let me start again for this one. We just pick up the stair tool. And I'm going to mark the distance here. And now I'm going to click and pick up the arc by 3 points. And I'm going to mark my 3 points. And now, depending upon whether you want it to be inside or outside, based on that, you will create the staircase. Again, let's take a look at the 3D. So we have the staircase again. Now, let's take a look at the last option. In this case, I have a reference of a circle here. I can simply keep the settings for the staircase as same, what I have been using, and I can simply make use of the magic wand. Okay. And depending upon whether I want this staircase inside or outside, I can just click on the circle and it will create the staircase. Now let's take a look at how we can customize the staircase here. So for that, I'm just going to go back to the 3D view and zoom into one of the staircases here. Let's select the staircase and take a look at the settings here. So here I have already set the geometry and positioning. I'm going to focus more on the structure now. I'm going to activate stringers on both sides for the flight structure as well as for the landing. And then I'm going to key in and decide upon how big the stringer I want. So for example, let's say I want this to be 200 by 35. Likewise, the landing. I'll keep it same as for the flight as well. So 200 by 35. I'm just going to click OK now. So you'll notice that it has stringer on both the sides now. Now, similarly, I'm going to select this again. And now if you want, you can play around with the finish. So let's say for the tread, if you want to override the surface, you can just click on override. And then you can just pick up the material that you want. And finally, let's add a railing here. So for example, if I pick up the railing, let me just pick up one from the favorite. And I'm just going to add using the magic wand again. I'm going back to the 3D view. It's taking some time to update. Yeah, so we will have the railing there. So that's about the spiral staircase. And then you can customize the railing, and we will be sharing details on railings and customization of railing in the detailed sessions, which will be following after this one. Now let's just move on to the next one, and let's take a look at what is the next staircase. The next one that we are going to talk about is a HDB staircase. So let's take a look at the details that needs to be taken care for HDB, typical HDB staircase. So for this, let me just show you a reference file to take a look at the details here. So as you can see, this is a typical HDB staircase, and you will notice that it is slightly different than a usual staircase where you will have finishes and all. In this case, it's just the structure. And also pay attention to the connections here between the risers and the landing, as well as the railing. So if you pay attention to the railing here, you will notice that it has the top rail, but for when it comes to the bottom rail, it has two of the bottom rails. One is the steel member and the other one is the concrete member. So it's a very typical HDB staircase, and we will be learning about the details of how to achieve this particular staircase now. So let me just take you to another file. Here in this file, I have marked the area. I've added a few slabs and the walls to actually start with. So based on the dimension and the standards that would be required to create the staircase, I am now going to start creating one. So I'm going to pick up the stair tool, and let's just go to the settings again. So in this case, I'm just going to remove the offset values here. I'm going to start with the riser, end with the riser. The depth here is 1300. And for the rules, I'm going to untick this rule, which is defining two riser plus one going. And I am going to keep the riser height at 175 maximum. And for the going, I'm going to define the going as 275 maximum. Okay, now let's just start creating. So I'm going to create the HDB staircase here now. So let me just add a reference line here to get the start point, and a reference line here to get an endpoint as well. So to begin with, I'm just going to click on the first point. So as you can see, it starts creating the staircase. So I'm going to click on the first one, second point. Okay. Okay, I think there was some. Let me just check the settings again. There is the internet connection is not that strong, so I'm having some issues. All right. So I'm going to give the first point, the second point, and now I need to define the landing. So from the pet palette, I'm going to pick up the landing. And then I'll pick up the flight again. Let me do slight modifications here. Okay, let's take a look at the 3D. This is what I have at the moment. Now to customize it further, I will be editing the settings now. So the first thing I need to take note of is the structure. It has to be monolithic, the landing structure as well, both flight and landing. And then from here, you can actually key in the value that you would want here for your slope. And then for the landing monolithic, again, you can change the value from here. Important here to pay attention is the support connections. As you can see here, let me take it on the side. You can take note of the connection here. Currently, the connection is vertical plus horizontal cut. I'm going to make, you can change the distance. You can see here the connection dx and dy, the distance here. I'm just going to make this as 0. Now, the top connection, let's just see here what happens. Here, the current setting is vertical cut. I'm going to change this as horizontal cut with cutout and make sure the values here are 0 as well. So if I click OK, so you will notice the top connection, the bottom, and the one at the center. Let me take a look at the settings again. So the center ones are all automatic cut. The top ones, all 0. Let's just change, let's just make this as 100. And also for the landing, 100 as well. And let's just take a look at the settings, the final product as well. Now, again, we only want to see the structure, not the finishes. So let's go back to the settings again. And this time I'm going to turn off the finish. and I'm just going to keep thread and riser. So this is what you can achieve doing the settings that we just now did. Now let's move on to sorry, let's just move on to the next one. The last one that I would want to share is the Villa Patio project, one of our sample projects. And there we have a suspended staircase, and we will learn how to play around with the nodes in the sub-elements and achieve this result that you see on the screen right now. So let's just review what's there on the Villa Patio project. So this is the Villa Patio project. As you can see, this is the patio. And let's move on to the living room so that we can take a look at the stairs. Let me zoom in. As you can see here, for the threads, it's all different width. And for the railing, we have individual members here. So if you see the settings for the railing itself, the base members, the horizontal ones, are being done using the beam. So these are just the beams placed at different heights. Likewise, for the vertical members, we have used columns here. So all columns at a different height and offset. As you can see, it's not linked. So there's an offset value here so that it gets attached with the horizontal members and also to the threads. Now for this one, let's see how we can have this. So if you can see the 3D view again, it's just a basic plain simple staircase. Let's go to the settings. Again for this one, I'm going to turn off the structure and I'll keep it monolithic. For the finish, I'm going to keep as threads only. And the thickness of the thread you can always change from the settings itself. Now as you can see, we have the threads here, which are at the moment all same depth. But if I want to edit these at sub-element level, I will select and click on edit. And then I can actually play around with each one of them individually. So as you can see, it has nodes on the sides. So I can simply select the edge of the thread, and you will get this pet palette. And then you can just use the offset edge to define how much offset you want, and then you can specify the distance. So let's say I keep the first one as it is, second one as it is, but the third one, I want to move it on the side. So I'm just going to select individual thread click on the edge, use offset edge, and then I can define, for example, let's say I want to move this 100 on the left. I'll key in the value and enter. The next one, again, let's say I want to offset it further. This time, let's say 200, enter. So then it will start. Let me exit the edit mode first. Yeah, so as you can see, you can actually work on the sub-element level and modify it further. Not just the offset, if you wish, you can actually play around with the geometry as well. So let's say this edge I want to curve. I can actually give it a radius as well. So you can play around with the shape of the staircase as well. So these are the three types of staircases that I wanted to share with you all today. Please take note that we have a stairs and railings training available as well on GS Learn portal. Here's here's a QR code for you all to scan in case you're interested. For the basics of the stairs, the file I used is available to be downloaded under this training as well. So if you enroll yourself on this training, you will get the file and you can use it for further practice. Also, there is a lot of information available in the help center as well, which will guide you through each and every um, element and sub-element and each and every option available in the Stair tool for you to learn from. Again, the QR code for you so that you can scan and go through the help center article as well. Also, please follow us on the social media. I'll give you some time in case you want to scan. We are available on Instagram, Facebook, and also our YouTube channel. We have all our events being uploaded already on our YouTube channel, and you can just subscribe and learn from the available videos as well. And thank you so much for attending today's session.